Today's top breaking news: former U.S. President Donald Trump has declared a complete and total ceasefire between Iran and Israel via social media. In mid-June, Israel launched intense airstrikes across Iran, targeting nuclear and military sites. Iran retaliated with missile strikes on major Israeli cities. Both sides suffered hundreds of casualties and significant damage. Now, Trump has announced a unilateral ceasefire, urging both Iran and Israel to show restraint immediately. The declaration emphasizes an end to all military activity. What's next? Observers are watching closely. Will Iran and Israel comply fully? Will the ceasefire hold amid ongoing regional tensions? Will the U.S. play a role in monitoring or enforcing this pause? This is a monumental development. Subscribe now and stay tuned for more on whether this pause evolves into lasting peace or if the conflict flares up again.
Retaliatory attack from Iran. What they didn't know was how aggressive or how destructive it was going to be. And in fact, what we saw was an Iranian action that was pretty much deliberately designed to do as little damage as possible. I mean, what's happened today must be one of the most careful and frankly polite military exchanges in recent history. You had Iran warning the United States in advance of what they were going to do, and then in a post on social media, Donald Trump has even been thanking them. He said, I would like to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region. I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. And Donald Trump then went on to say that Iran had now got everything out of their system. So that sounds very much like he is ready to declare this over, and it's difficult to imagine why Iran would be planning further action after the great care and delicacy they have taken over the attack today. It was not guaranteed this was going to go this way when Donald Trump launched those airstrikes on Saturday night against Iran's nuclear facilities. He could not be sure that this is how Iran was going to respond. This is a best-case scenario in many ways for the United States and for President Trump, and there will be great relief inside the White House that this is how it's gone down.
Sarah Smith, thank you very much. Well, tonight the US has lifted the advice to its citizens in Qatar to stay indoors. Qatar says all the Iranian missiles which were aimed at the US military base were intercepted and that there were no casualties. A statement by Iran said that 6 missiles were launched, the same number used in the American attack on its nuclear site.
In a fast-changing and volatile region, the Middle East is once again on edge. Tensions between Iran and Israel have reached new heights, drawing in the United States and threatening the balance of global security. June 13, 2025, Israel launched a full-scale military operation called Operation Rising Lion, targeting critical sites inside Iran, including nuclear research facilities in Natanz, air defense bases in Isfahan, and military command centers in Tehran. High-ranking members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard were reportedly killed in these strikes. In response, Iran fired dozens of ballistic missiles into major Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Bat Yam. The strikes caused widespread damage to infrastructure, including schools, hospitals, and apartment complexes. Civilian casualties have been reported on both sides. Meanwhile, the United States began pulling military aircraft and troops from the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, a clear signal of rising concern. Evacuation protocols were activated in Iraq, Bahrain, and Kuwait as embassies warned of imminent threats. President Trump called for restraint, emphasizing that the region is on the brink. On June 24th, a ceasefire agreement was reached. Iran and Israel both agreed to halt further military action, following strong diplomatic pressure from Washington. However, just before the ceasefire deadline, Iran launched a final wave of missiles, killing 4 civilians in Beersheba. In the background, Qatar held emergency meetings with global energy giants, preparing for potential disruption to liquefied natural gas exports. Meanwhile, Iran rejected direct negotiations with the U.S., claiming peace is not possible, while Israel continues its aggression. Militias in Iraq have also warned of retaliation if the U.S. becomes further involved. As the dust settles and the world watches, the question remains, is this a real pause or just the calm before another storm? Subscribe to this channel for more.